So, why is Valorant still popular today? The game, since its release in 2020, has continued to perform well, and there's reasons for this. You should be able to see how the game is currently performing. ActivePlayer.io says this. Tracker.gg says this. And Player Auctions says this. So, there's not quite an accurate depiction of what the actual player base is right now, but we can definitely say that it's a very popular game, and it's one of the biggest FPS games right now. And one of the reasons is because of its constant updates and refreshing gameplay. They keep people playing the game and hooking new players, and they've done various things to continue this. It's almost been 5 years, and over the course of that time, the game's introduced new maps, agents, game modes, and microtransactions. Firstly, Valorant began with 3 maps in its standard match mode during its beta, those being Bind, Haven, and Split, and then a 4th in its 1.0 update, that map being Ascent. Since then, another 7 maps were released in that mode: Icebox, Breeze, Fracture, Pearl, Lotus, Sunset, and Abyss, which accumulate to 11 maps. This has kept the gameplay refreshing, as players had to learn the new maps, in order to help them win matches. New maps give the feel of a different experience, despite the base gameplay being the same, and it's a simple but effective way to keep players interested and test their skill. Along with this, some of those maps have had reworks, where parts of the layout have changed, that though it's only a minor difference, still gives that refreshing feel to the game. There are other maps, but they are part of the less significant game modes, so I won't cover them. This has shown that by adding more content to the game, the popularity of the game is increased, whilst retaining the core player base. Secondly, Valorant, over time, has released new game modes to appeal to all players, rather than just keeping it a purely competitive game. There are 8 of them now, as well as the range, where players can train to improve their skills, though mostly they just play aim labs. The game has 2 main modes: Unrated, which is a 5v5, team-based, plant or defuse game mode, where there are halves of 12 rounds, of which it's first to 13 rounds to win the game. And then Competitive, which is the exact same except it incorporates a ranking system. As you can see, there are 9 ranks: Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Ascendant, Immortal, and Radiant. You aim to climb each rank to become the best in the game. This separates itself from Unrated, as there are higher skills required to win matches. By having so many ranks, it spreads out the large amount of players nicely, keeping the very best at the game at the top, and the lesser skilled players towards the bottom. Unless you're a Smurf. I hate Smurfs. The only reason to have so many accounts is to play the game when your main gets banned due to Riot Games' insanely soft rules. That's just my opinion. These modes are the main staple of the game, and are obviously fun and competitive to play. There are 6 other modes then. In 2023, Swift Play was introduced. This is like Unrated, however much shorter, with it being first to 5 rounds. This was a good addition because the main modes are really long to play, considering the amount of rounds they have. The shortness gives people who have less time, or who just want to have a warm-up game, a chance to play. Spike Rush. In this mode, everyone has the same loadout, and has a spike, or a bomb if you call it that. It's first to 4 rounds to win the game. It's a nice casual match mode to play for fun, which strays away from the other more serious game modes. Deathmatch. A free-for-all mode where 12 players compete to reach 40 kills first, without the use of abilities. It's the perfect mode for warming up before a match and testing your aim. It's a very good addition to the game. Escalation. It's 5 against 5, where there are 12 different weapons that you must get kills to cycle through without proper abilities. The first team to do so wins. This is another casual, fun game mode. Team Deathmatch. 5v5 again, except it's first to 100 to win, where after so much time during the match, you'll have different weapon choices. It mixes that warm-up type feel with a casual feel as well. And Premier. A tournament-like game mode where you need your own team of 5 to compete, where you play the competitive match mode but with a few tweaks. This is good as it gives the more serious and skilled players something even more competitive to compete in, even though they might not be able to play in an esports team, for example. Overall, these game modes are great, as they give a mix of casual and competitive gameplay that allows not just one type of player to enjoy the game, and this has led to Valorant's current popularity and why it's still widely played. Thirdly, the agents, and there are 27 of them. The game originally started with 5 agents. They are Brimstone, Jet, Phoenix, Sage, and Sova, which have a different role and have a diverse range of abilities. The other 25 are, let me speedrun this, Astra, Breach, Chamber, Clove, Cypher, Deadlock, Fade, Gecko, Harbor, Isso, KO, Killjoy, Neon, Omen, Raze, Rainer, Sky, Tejo, Viper, Vice, Waylay, and Yoru. Phew. Alright, since the release, they introduced a chunk of agents, which now averages to about 2 or 3 every year. This is important as the agents are another big feature of the game. By bringing out new ones, players must learn how to play as and against the new agent. It gives players more options on who they want to play as. Agents have multiple abilities that they can use which make them unique from each other, and then wield an ultimate that can be used once enough orbs have been attained, either through kills, or from deaths, or from physically grabbing them during matches, and that has a bigger impact on the game. This is one of the reasons why the game is still so popular, and became so in the first place. Agents, abilities, etc. made the game's simplicity more fun and interesting, and added a new level of competitiveness that's different from other FPS titles out there, like Counter-Strike for example. I'm going to quickly mention the art style and graphics. The game isn't highly demanding, which is good for performance, and allows people with less quality PCs to play the game. Any bugs and glitches are quickly patched to keep the game smooth. As well as this, the art style is unique. Unlike other FPS titles where the games are more realistic looking, this is a more arcade type look to the game, which is refreshing in itself. Just by looking at something that's different, it will massively hook in players because even if the game's main gameplay is similar to others, it feels like a different game, which obviously it is. But maybe you've played a game that feels like a copycat to another, and I don't believe Valorant is a copycat, which is a huge positive and has been a contributor to the game's current success and popularity. At least, I believe that. Then we have microtransactions, but more specifically, weapon skins. There's no doubt that these have made the game so much money, and whilst no numbers have been released as to how much it's made the game make, or at least proper statistics, it's definitely been a success for the game. Of course, the game is free to play, which is positive in itself, and they have to make money somehow. But skins are widely used. I'm sure we all agree when I say it feels like the skins give you an advantage, even though they technically do not. I just, for some reason, feel more powerful. This in fact does keep the game popular, as new skins will release over time, and people will buy them. It's relatively small in the grand scheme of the game's popularity, but it makes the game's weapons more exciting when there are cool cosmetics around. They give a different satisfaction when you kill a player in-game. Also, another quick mention, the game's weapons. There are 18 different weapons, including 5 sidearms, 2 SMGs, 2 shotguns, 4 rifles, 3 sniper rifles, and 2 heavy weapons, as well as the melee you automatically equip, so technically 19. These are, another speedrunning coming, Classic, Shorty, Frenzy, Ghost, Sheriff, Stinger, Spectre, Bucky, Judge, Bulldog, Guardian, Phantom, Vandal, Marshal, Outlaw, Operator, Ares, and Odin. Okay, having various weapons and plenty of them is important, as each weapon has a situation it's suited to which it makes the game more exciting, and people can experiment with different weapons to see which ones they like the most. It just gives the game more depth. I mean, if it only had, let's say, 5 weapons, then it'd be more boring. I think everyone understands that. Another big factor is that the game recently released on other platforms as well, those being PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, in the summer of 2024. I mean, that's huge for keeping the game popular, and it increases the accessibility for those who don't own PCs or just prefer consoles. This was a smart move, and it's been an obvious contributor to the current game's success. Lastly, esports. So, Valorant esports is very popular, and it's been successful in terms of bringing and retaining players, with people being able to watch some of the world's best players competing against each other for a big prize pool. Its esports scene really just shows the competitive of the game and its depth. By having it, it makes Valorant feel more important, and therefore helps to maintain Valorant's current popularity as one of the biggest FPS games currently. So, the game has managed to stay popular, relevant, and a success. By the base game having depth, and then continuous updates being released to keep the game refreshing and fun, which are plentiful, but at the same time aren't rammed down your throat, they've done it in many ways. And when the game is compared to other FPS titles, stand out as a unique competitive shooter that keeps players addicted and wanting more. Hopefully, that's shown how the game became and still is a popular one that's believed by many. I mean, this is what I believe. Take it for what you will. Credit to Alartriss for the jet picture used in the thumbnail. I'll leave a link to her DeviantArt page in the description below. And credit to the channel No Copyright Gameplay for some of the Valorant gameplay used in the video. I'll link their channel in the description below as well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more content like this. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.